The first time Arya's scent reached the alpha's senses, he nearly collapsed, not because it was sweet, not because it was familiar, but because it was impossible. A human scent, soft, warm, and painfully mortal, triggered a surge in his curse that nearly shattered him. He turned, trembling, eyes glowing with barely contained power, and she, the girl, mocked, shunned, and cast aside for smelling too human, met his gaze without fear. "Why does your scent," he whispered, voice breaking, "feel like the cure I have been dying for?" But behind her, the pack jeered. "Don't touch her, Alpha. She's barely wolf. She smells like a human farm girl. She'll poison you." Arya lowered her head, but the moon behind her flared silver, and the Alpha's curse pulsed in answer. The pack didn't know it yet, but the scent they mocked was the key to his survival. Before we continue, don't blink. This story spirals fast. Betrayal, forbidden power, a curse older than the pack itself. Now let's step into Arya's world, where the weakest scent becomes the strongest weapon. Arya had always known she didn't fit. Wolves were meant to smell of forest and storm, sharp, wild, unmistakable. But Arya smelled like bread, some teased, warm milk, others mocked, human, comforting, soft, a disgrace. Pups mimicked, gagging, when she walked by. Warriors stepped aside with sneers. Even the elders frowned when she entered a room. "It is a curse," her grandfather told her once, "a defect in your blood." But he was wrong. It wasn't a curse. It was the beginning of one. On the night of the blood moon gathering, Arya stood at the edge of the ceremony grounds, hugging her cloak around her as wolves shifted and danced beneath the moonlight. Tonight was the Alpha's choosing. Alpha Kaelin Ravarin, the wolf cursed by the very goddess who once blessed his bloodline. Arya watched from afar, silently praying no one would notice her. They did. They always did. A she-wolf strutted past, loud enough for Arya to hear. Why is she even here? Probably hoping the Alpha is blind or desperate. She smells like a baker's daughter, not a wolf. Arya winced, looking away. And that was when Kaelin entered the clearing. Tall, dark, eyes glowing faintly, with the residue of a curse he couldn't hide. And when his gaze swept across the crowd, it stopped on her. Arya swallowed. No, not possible. He couldn't. Kaelin's nostrils flared. The air tightened. His breath hitched. "Not again," he growled, clutching his chest. The curse was reacting. Warriors rushed toward him. "Alpha, what triggered it? What do you smell? Is it another rogue infiltration?" Kaelin's voice cracked as he pointed, straight at Arya. "Her!" Every head turned. Arya froze. "Her scent," Kaelin whispered, stepping closer. "It calms it, weakens the curse." Gasps rippled through the pack. Of all scents, the soft human one? The pack roared. "That's impossible. She's defective. A human-scent wolf cannot help the Alpha." Kaelin ignored them. He stepped closer until Arya felt his heat, his aura pressing against her, like a storm held at bay. "What are you?" he whispered. Arya's voice trembled. I don't know," but the moon above them flared blinding white, and Kaelin saw the first crack in his curse. All because of the girl they mocked as unworthy. Kaelin didn't trust destiny. Not since the curse stole half his strength. Not since the goddess's mark began burning into his skin each night. Not since his last failed attempt to bond with a lunar candidate nearly killed him. So when Arya's scent reached him, soft, warm, impossibly soothing, his first instinct was rage. Get her away from me, he snarled. Warriors dragged Arya forward, shoved her to her knees. She didn't fight. She never fought. Kaelin circled her like she was prey. But the closer he got, the quieter the curse roared in his veins. He exhaled sharply. Again, he commanded. Let me smell it again. Arya flinched as he leaned near her neck, inhaling deeply. And just like before, his shaking stopped, his heartbeat steadied, his curse retreated. The pack murmured in horror. This couldn't be real. A low-ranking girl with no notable wolf traits, with a human-like scent, was the Alpha's stabilizer? Kaelin straightened. Who are your parents? Arya lowered her gaze. My mother died before I was 3. My father was human. Gasps, disgust. Kaelin's jaw clenched. You're half human? The elders rushed forward. Alpha, step away! She's dangerous! Human blood weakens the pack. She cannot be allowed near you. But Kaelin didn't move. He couldn't, because the moment he stepped away, the curse surged back, hard. His knees hit the dirt, his breath vanished. Black veins spread across his arms. Arya gasped. Alpha? His warriors panicked. Get him a healer. He's collapsing. Why is the curse activating now? But Kaelin reached blindly toward only one thing, her. Arya hesitated, and then moved to him. The moment her hand touched his arm, the darkness recoiled. The curse froze, and Kaelin breathed again. The entire pack fell silent. Arya's eyes widened. Did I just stop it? Kaelin stared at her, like she was both salvation and a nightmare. You, he rasped, voice shaking, are the only thing stopping my death. But the moon above them cracked with thunder, and a whisper only Arya heard curled through the air. You are not stopping his curse, child. You were born to break it. Arya barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Alpha Kaelin collapsing, black veins surging across his skin, and her hand glowing faintly when she touched him, a glow no one else seemed to notice. She didn't understand it. She wasn't magical. She wasn't powerful. She wasn't even fully wolf. She was nothing, and yet somehow, she kept the strongest alpha in the region alive. By dawn, her fears were confirmed. A warrior appeared at her cabin door. The alpha commands your presence. Arya's stomach twisted. She followed in silence until they reached the high den, a stone hall where only pack leaders were allowed. Inside waited Alpha Kaelin, 4 elders, 3 furious female warriors, the pack shaman, and at least 20 wolves desperate for answers. Arya kept her head down. What is this? She whispered. Kaelin's voice filled the hall, cold, sharp, undeniably alpha. You are being evaluated. Evaluated, like livestock. Arya swallowed hard. The shaman stepped forward, robes dragging against the stone floor. Stand in the center, child. Arya obeyed. Though her heart pounded, Kaelin watched from a distance, expression unreadable. The elders circled her, muttering. So small, so frail. Her wolf aura is barely detectable. Her scent is an abomination. One elder spat on the ground near her feet. But Kaelin didn't react. He only stared, unblinking, studying her like she was a riddle he hadn't asked for. Activate her wolf, an elder ordered. Arya stiffened. I can't shift. We know. But even a weak wolf responds to alpha aura. Kaelin stepped forward. He didn't touch her. He didn't need to. His aura slammed into her like a tidal wave. Her knees buckled. Her breath vanished. Her vision blurred. Wolves gasped. She should have been crushed instantly under such power. But instead, a strange shimmer pulsed under her skin, a silver thread weaving through her veins. Something old, something forbidden. Arya's eyes widened. Kaelin noticed. "What was that?" he demanded. Arya shook her head desperately. I don't know." But the shaman stepped close, eyes gleaming. "She carries something ancient." The elders recoiled. Impossible. A half-human child cannot hold old magic. Yet Arya felt it too, a dormant ember inside her chest, awakening under the Alpha's presence. "Bring the Alpha here," the shaman instructed. Kaelin tensed. "No. Alpha," the elder snapped. "The pack deserves to know the truth. The truth that his curse was killing him, that only her scent stabilized him. That without her, the pack had no future Alpha." Kaelin's jaw tightened. "Fine." He stepped closer. The curse stirred instantly. Black veins lifted beneath his skin, his breathing faltered. The air around him crackled with violent magic. Arya panicked. "No, wait!" She didn't think. She simply reached for him. The moment her fingertips brushed his wrist, light. A burst of pale gold light flared from her hand into his veins. Not harsh. Not burning, warm, healing. The curse recoiled violently, then shrank back like a wounded beast. Kaelin gasped, muscles unclenching. Silence crashed over the hall. The shaman dropped to his knees. "It is true. She does not suppress the curse. She disrupts it." Elders stared at Arya now with something worse than fear, need. Because without her, their Alpha would die. Kaelin straightened slowly, eyes locked on hers. "You are coming with me." Arya stumbled back. "What? No, I can't." "You are moving to the Alpha Keep," he continued coldly. "Effective immediately." She shook her head, terrified. "But the pack hates me. I don't belong there. I don't belong anywhere near you." Kaelin stepped forward, aura brushing her skin like a storm held in chains. "You will stay where I can reach you," he murmured. His voice dropped lower. "Because when the curse surges, I don't have time to search for you." The pack watched, with wide eyes, as the Alpha reached out, not to command her, not to threaten her, but to steady himself. Arya felt her heartbeat stumble. What was this bond forming between them? Why did touching him feel like touching destiny? Before she could speak, a warrior rushed in, panting. "Alpha! Rogues breach the northern ridge!" Kaelin's expression hardened. "Get her to safety," he ordered, glancing at Arya. "She stays alive." Arya's breath caught. For the first time, the entire pack looked at her with something new. Not hatred, not disgust, but realization. Because the Alpha, their curse-stricken, dying Alpha, had just revealed his fate, was tied to hers. The northern ridge smelled of blood. Smoke drifted through the pines, thick and metallic, as warriors sprinted past Arya. She'd barely been shoved behind the fortified wall of the Alpha Keep before chaos swallowed the pack. Rogues. Why now? And why did her skin prickle? Why did her heartbeat sink strangely with Kaelin's aura, miles away, as if something was pulling her chest in his direction? Arya pressed a hand to her sternum, breath trembling. "What's happening to me?" The shaman appeared beside her, robes fluttering in the wind. "It has begun," he murmured. "What has?" But he didn't answer. Outside, Kaelin tore through the first wave of rogues, moving with brutal precision, claws and teeth flashing silver in the night. But even as he ripped one attacker apart, the curse pulsed, hard. Kaelin staggered. A black vein surged across his throat, his vision blurred. His wolf howled in agony. Not now. Another rogue lunged. Kaelin blocked too slowly. Claws tore across his ribs. Deep, brutal, deadly. The alpha collapsed to one knee. His beta shouted, "The curse! He's losing control!" Kaelin gasped, blood dripping from his palm. "Get Arya!" Inside the keep, Arya fell forward, as if someone had yanked an invisible cord. Her vision sparked gold. Her palm lit faintly again. "No," she whispered, terrified. "No, no, no! Why do I feel him? Why am I feeling his pain?" The shaman grabbed her arm. "You must go to him." I can't fight. I can barely run." "You misunderstand," he said, eyes shining with fear. "You are not meant to fight the rogues. You are meant to fight his curse." Arya froze. "What?" But the shaman was already dragging her toward the exit. "The alpha is dying." It felt like the world tilted sideways. Kaelin, the cold, ruthless alpha, who despised her scent, the man who made her feel insignificant, dying, and somehow the thought tore through her like grief. "I don't know how to help him." "But the bond does," the shaman said. "Now run!" Arya sprinted toward the ridge, dodging fleeing wolves and wounded warriors. The sky glowed orange from burning pine needles. Claws clashed against steel, snarls ripped through the air. She wasn't supposed to be here. She wasn't supposed to matter. Yet every step she took. Kaelin's heartbeat pounded in her skull. Boom, 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 slowing, weakening, dying. Her legs moved faster than fear. When she burst into the clearing, Kaelin was on his knees, body trembling violently, curse spiraling across his chest in black veins that pulsed with sickening rhythm. Rogues circled. He wasn't shifting. He couldn't. His wolf was being suffocated by the curse. "Alpha!" she cried. Kaelin lifted his head, barely seeing her. "Arya, go back." But even now, dying, he tried to protect her. Rage and fear collided inside her. "No." She stumbled into the circle of rogues, heart slamming against her ribs. The nearest rogue bared his fangs. "She's human-centered," he snarled. "Kill her first." Arya flinched. But Kaelin exploded upward. With a roar so violent, the ground seemed to shake. He tore into the rogue with feral desperation. Not strength, not dominance, instinct, possession, bond. The other rogues fled instantly. Even blood-mad rogues feared an alpha, protecting something he considers his. But the moment they disappeared into the trees, Kaelin collapsed again. This time he didn't rise. Arya's knees hit the ground beside him. "Kaelin, please, stay awake!" His breathing rattled. The black veins on his chest spread faster, crawling toward his heart. His voice was barely a whisper. "I told you, stay away from me." Tears fell onto his skin. "I can't." He closed his eyes, agony twisting his features. "It hurts. It hurts everywhere." Arya grabbed his face with trembling hands. "Then let me try, please. I don't know what this bond is, why I feel you, why you react to me, but I can't let you die." Her hand glowed again, soft gold, then brighter, then blinding. Kaelin gasped, eyes flying open. The curse recoiled. Arya sucked in a breath as heat coursed through her arm, her veins lighting up like molten fire. The world narrowed, the wind muted, the moon pulsed overhead, and something ancient inside her stirred. A voice, not hers, echoed in her mind. Daughter of the first bloodline. He is tethered to your gift. You are the key. You are the cure. Arya screamed as the energy surged through her palm into Kaelin's chest. But the curse writhed violently, fighting her, burning her, trying to break her. "Arya, stop!" Kaylin choked. No, she sobbed, pushing harder. You don't get to die. Not like this. Not when your fate. Your whole future depends on something you don't even understand yet. Her body shook. Her vision blurred. The golden light wavered, then exploded outward in a shockwave that sent dust spiraling into the air. When it faded, Kaylin lay still. Arya's heart stopped. Kaylin, no answer. She shook him harder. Kaylin! Nothing. But then, a breath, a slow, painful inhale, and the black veins began to fade. Kaylin opened his eyes. He stared at her, like he was seeing her for the first time. Arya, he whispered, voice raw. What are you? She was shaking uncontrollably. I don't know. But the shaman, arriving breathless from the forest edge, knelt in the dirt and bowed deeply. Not to Kaylin, to her. Child, you are no half-breed. You are first ancestral, a bloodline thought extinct. Arya's breath froze. Kaylin was still staring at her, but not with disgust, not with annoyance, with something like fear, wonder, and fate. The shaman continued. You were born to break the Alpha curse, and the pack that rejected you, the Alpha who mocked your scent, will soon learn. His eyes lifted to the moon. That their entire future is bound to the girl they wanted dead. Arya shivered, not from fear, but from the sense that something enormous had just awakened inside her, inside them. Kaylin whispered her name again, not commanding, not dismissive, calling. Arya, she swallowed. This was no longer rejection. This was destiny unfolding. The courtyard fell silent when Arya stepped into it. Warriors who had mocked her scent, elders who had dismissed her, Omegas who once couldn't look her in the eye, all froze, not because she looked different, not because she carried herself with more confidence, but because the Alpha walked beside her, not leading her, not dragging her, walking with her. Kaylin's wounds had closed. Faint silver marks, the only evidence of how close he'd come to death. But the way his gaze kept flicking toward Arya, awe, fear, recognition. The elders whispered among themselves. That human-scented girl healed him? Impossible. No one survives the crimson curse. She glowed. She isn't normal. Arya tried not to shrink under the attention. Her heart thudded at the same rhythm as Kaylin's again, a steady pulsing echo. The shaman raised his staff. The Alpha lives because she intervened. The curse retreated because her blood rejected it. And the moon itself acknowledged her lineage. The courtyard murmured louder. Arya clenched her fists. I didn't ask for this. I never wanted to be a spectacle. Kaylin stepped closer, voice low. You didn't choose it, but fate chose you. She met his gaze. And you rejected me. He flinched. The entire courtyard fell silent. Even the wind stopped moving. Kaylin swallowed, Adam's apple bobbing. Yes, he said quietly. And if I could undo it, I would. Arya looked down, throat tight. Why did you do it? Kaylin exhaled shakily. Because you smelled human. Because the elders warned the Alpha's mate must be pure wolf. Because I was a coward who listened to duty instead of instinct. His voice cracked, a sound no one had ever heard from him. But when your scent touched mine tonight, I realized something was wrong. That I wasn't rejecting weakness. I was rejecting destiny. Arya felt her breath hitch. Kaylin. He stepped closer, hands trembling slightly. When I was dying, the only thing I could think of was you. Your face, your voice, The bond I tried to deny wrapped around my throat like a plea. Her vision blurred. And when I woke up, the first thing I felt was your fear for me, your heartbeat inside mine, your power running through my veins. He sank to one knee. Gasps exploded across the courtyard. Kaelin, Arya whispered, panicked. You can't kneel. I can, he murmured. And I will. He lifted her hand carefully, reverently. I don't deserve forgiveness. I don't deserve your strength. But I am asking, if there is even a sliver of possibility, his voice dropped to a vow. Let me earn the right to protect you. Her heart thundered. She could still feel the faint dreamlike glow under her skin. The ancient power she didn't understand yet. The destiny, tied to him with threads older than the pack itself. The elders began muttering angrily. This is not tradition. The Alpha cannot choose an outsider. She is cursed by human blood. A deep growl vibrated from Kaelin, then another, from Arya. The courtyard trembled. A surge of golden aura burst from her chest, weaving into Kaelin's dark, alpha aura, twisting, merging. A shimmering thread of fate snapping into place. The shaman dropped to his knees. The bond. It has awakened. Silence washed over the pack. Kaelin rose slowly, eyes locked on hers. Arya, if you want this bond, if you choose it, I will stand with you, against the elders, the rogues, the moon itself. But if you reject it, if you reject me, I will accept it. Arya stared into his eyes. Eyes that once held cold judgment, now softened by something fragile and rare, fear, hope, devotion. She took a shaking breath. I don't know what I am, she whispered, or what this power means. Kaelin stepped closer. Then we learned together. Her chest tightened. You hurt me, she said softly, and part of me still bleeds. His eyes closed. A pained exhale escaped him. I know. But, she continued, voice trembling, when I felt you dying, something inside me shattered. His eyes snapped open. I thought losing you wouldn't matter, she said, tears forming. I was wrong. A single tear slipped down her cheek. Kaelin caught it gently, with his thumb. Arya inhaled deeply. Kaelin, she whispered, I choose the bond. The courtyard erupted. Gasps, growls, howls of disbelief. Kaelin pulled her into his arms, burying his face in her hair, breath shaking in relief. And as the moon rose higher, a golden symbol shimmered briefly above her heart. The mark of the first bloodline, the mark of destiny. Her destiny, their destiny. Arya lifted her chin and faced the horrified elders. I am Arya of the first line, she declared, voice strong. And the Alpha's fate, the Pack's fate, runs through me. Kaelin stood behind her, his presence an unspoken vow. And anyone who challenges her. He growled. Challenges me. The shaman raised his staff. So it is written. So it begins. Arya felt Kaelin's hand slide into hers. Warm, steady, certain. He whispered against her temple. I'll spend every day proving I was wrong about you. She smiled softly. You already started. And under the ancient moon, the girl they mocked for smelling human rose as the Alpha's true fate, glowing with a power that would reshape their world forever.